Michelle here. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, welcome. Today I just wanted to do a quick little video on some things about me that you may not know, maybe you want to know, maybe you don't. I have had several messages from people referencing or asking about things that I've referenced in previous videos. So I thought I would kind of do a overall impression of me for you, so you kind of know who is coming to you when you're watching my videos. So here's 10 things about me that maybe you didn't know, want to know, don't want to know, whatever. So first one is that I'm a mama. I am the proud mom of 4 gorgeous, talented, beautiful children, intelligent, wicked funny. I have 3 daughters and 1 son. My daughters are 20, 17, 14, and my son is 11. I am so unimaginably proud of them. They are kind, good, decent human beings, and what more can a mom ask for, really? And they are all unique and different in their own wonderful ways. My oldest daughters are, one is heading off to college and one is already in college and are going to do such amazing things with their lives. I'm so proud of them and can't wait to see what, the future brings for them, how they're going to change the world, because I know that they will. And my youngest daughter is getting ready to enter high school next year, so that ought to be interesting. I can't believe it. And she is the most probably emotionally mature 14-year-old you've ever met, and she's funny as hell. She's been in some of my videos. She always puts a smile on my face. My son is, the love of my life. He really is. It's funny because I never thought that I wanted to have a boy. I never did. I never wanted to have boys. And maybe that's because, having been an educator for so long, and having to deal with discipline problems mostly from boys in my classes, I just never wanted to have any boys. And maybe also because I just was like, what am I going to do with a boy? I don't know how to relate to boys. And I was so close with my sister growing up that I always imagined having, kids, daughters who would, have close relationships with each other. And so I had that, in my mind. But my son came along after I thought I was done having children, but he came along and he is just my little man, He is, I often say, the boy I never knew I wanted. I cannot imagine my life without him now. And, all those qualms I had about having a boy have just gone out the window. We are, so close, and he's beautiful and smart. And my kids are my whole world, my whole life. I know all moms say that, but, in my case, it really is true. My being here on earth is because of them. It's for them. Everything I do is about them. And I appreciate that, and I feel grateful for that. We should move on before I really start bawling. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about my kids and, how much I love them and how incredibly proud I am to be their mom. I'm honored to be their mom. So, okay. As I just mentioned, I am a teacher. I've been an educator for a long time. I'm currently not teaching, and I've had some medical issues, and I have not been teaching now for a while, for 10 years, going on 10 years. I have been out of the teaching profession. So I was in it for about 10 years after college, and I've been out of it for as long. I miss it a lot sometimes. Sometimes I don't. So I guess moving into number 3, the reason why I had to quit teaching was migraines. I have chronic migraines. And if you're not familiar with migraines, if you've never had one or you don't know much about them, it may seem strange to think that someone has to quit working because of a migraine, because of a headache, right? But let me tell you, migraines are not headaches. Yeah, the pain is in your head, but that's not what all that they are. Migraine is a neurological event, and it is excruciatingly painful and comes with so many other symptoms that normal headaches don't come with. When I get a bad migraine, I have to sequester myself in a dark room with quiet, the light I cannot handle, the noise I cannot handle. I get nauseous, I vomit, I usually lose vision in an eye or have double vision or blurred vision. I get vertigo, so many other things. I can't eat, I can't really do anything at all. And because of this and the frequency of them, more than I probably get now, probably more than 10 days, 10 to 15 days out of the month, I have a migraine. So about half the time. And when I had to quit working, it was upwards of 20 days out of the month where I was suffering with migraines. And, before I stopped working, I was calling off a lot or just trying to, teach while being in excruciating pain. And it was not good, not good at all. I have been on copious amounts of medication in different combinations. I have done shots. I used to do intramuscular shots whenever I would get a migraine. I did them myself at home. I've done Botox. I've done just about everything you can think of to treat them. Nothing has eradicated the migraines, and nothing so far has made it so that I can work a normal job or, really live a normal pain-free life. And I do the best I can. So I am a writer. I have not been published in a long time. My dream has always been to be a novelist like Stephen King. Not that same genre, but, like him, a prolific writer. I have been published. I used to do a parenting column for one of our local papers. And I did that for about 2.5, almost 3 years before I kind of felt like I had done as much as I could do with the column, and I was kind of getting bored of it, and it was just time to move on from it. And so I stopped doing that about, I think, 2014. So going on, 4 or 5 years now that I have not been doing a column. I write poetry a lot and have been working on a novel here and there. I've torn it up and thrown it out, or deleted it, I should say, because I do write on a laptop mostly, although a lot of the poetry I do by hand. So I've done all that and started over, and I've submitted a lot of work to different publishers and gotten a lot of rejections, and that's okay. I always remind myself that Stephen King had a big giant stack of rejections before anyone ever published his work, and look at him now. But I am just blessed to be able to write and spend time doing that, and it's something that I love to do and will continue to do, whether or not I ever get published again or ever make any money on it, off of it. That's not what I do it for. I do it because I love to do it. And so yeah, another thing about me is that I had mentioned my ex-husband, or one of them, in a previous video or two, and so I had gotten some questions on social media about, how many times have you been married? How many times have you been divorced? And, I don't mind it. I'm not ashamed of it. I have been married twice and divorced twice, and both times it was the best decision that I made for myself and for the other person also, best thing for them. My first husband, we were married for about 6 years, and we got married very young. I think I was 21 when we got married. We had my daughter when I was 20, I did, and then we got married shortly after that, about a year after she was born. And, I think with that one, it failed because we were just young and grew apart. I always say I grew up and he didn't. So if he's watching, he probably hates me but for saying that, but he would never watch this anyway. So whatevs. My second husband, we got married really quickly after I got divorced from my first husband, and we were together for about 6 years. I guess that's the cutoff for me. So married twice, divorced twice. Whatever. So, all right. I am a country girl. I am a small town girl. I grew up in a tiny town in northwest Indiana, population of around 1,000. I lived out in the country. We, had bonfires. I went to a small school. Actually, the school that my kids go to and graduated from, or will graduate from this year, same school. So it's kind of cool. Very Mayberry. I live now in an even tinier town. I think our population at last count was 154 people, which you can probably hardly imagine. Yeah, it's a super tiny town, and this town is about 15-20 minutes from the town I grew up in. So, I'm close to home. I live out in the country of this tiny town on a couple acres, and we raise ducks and chickens, and we're getting pigs this spring, so that'll be a new adventure. And probably goats too. So I've been wanting to get goats for a while, but we're definitely doing the pigs. So yeah, it's going to be a new adventure for me, and I just love it. I love being out on the farm. I love bonfires. I love looking at those beautiful stars at night, the clear skies, the quiet, seeing eggs hatch and grow into chicks. I just love all of it. It's so much fun, and it's fun to have my kids around all that. Now, let me tell you, if you have not tried a fresh farm egg, if you do not get eggs from a local farmer, find somebody who raises chickens and get those farm fresh eggs. You will not be disappointed, honey. I'm telling you, there is the difference between a fresh farm egg and an egg you get from the store is night and fucking day. There's no comparison. I cannot even go out to eat for breakfast anymore. That used to be my favorite meal to go out to eat for. I can't even do that anymore because I can't stand eggs that aren't my farm fresh eggs. I know it sounds, I don't know, maybe a little prissy or something, but it's so true. If you have not experienced it, find somebody in your community, go to a farmer's market, find someone who has hens and lays those eggs. You will not be disappointed. You will not be disappointed. So it's such a huge difference. So they're so delicious, and they're so much better for you too than the store-bought eggs. So yeah, if you're near me at all, if you're in Northwest Indiana, check out our Facebook page at H&A Farms, H and A, the letter H, the letter A, Farms, and I'll give you some eggs. I'll sell you some eggs. I'll even ship them to you if you're far. But yeah, you would not be disappointed. So I really recommend that. So, all right, I'll get off my egg soapbox. 7, I am a sufferer of clinical depression. I'm on medication currently, and I think that it's the right medication. I've been, it's been a trial and error process. I have been deep down in the darkest hole with the depression. I've been, in an inpatient facility a couple times. I've been suicidal. I've attempted suicide. I used to cut, self-harm. I used to do that a lot when I would be really depressed. I'm a lot better now than I used to be, and I'm obviously very happy about that. I've been in counseling for a long time, although currently I'm not in counseling, so I need to get back into that. I just need to find a therapist that I feel, fits with me. So that's something that I'm, seeking out, and I think is really important. And also I was diagnosed about 5 years ago, I think, maybe a little bit longer. I think it has been longer. I don't know exactly when. I'm so forgetful. I'm bad about timing and timelines, I guess. But yeah, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and if you don't know what that is, it's kind of hard to explain, but it has a lot to do with moods and changing moods, and with a tendency toward histrionics, risky behaviors, and so forth. And it's just something that I live with. I don't think there is medication for it. Maybe there is. I don't know. Mood stabilizers, maybe. But I'm not really on medication for that. That's just something that I deal with through journaling and therapy and that kind of treatment. And like I said, I take medication for my depression, and so yeah, it's not something I really talk about a whole lot, although I'm not ashamed of it. I'm obviously telling y'all about it, and I think that we really need to get over the stigma of mental illness in our country, because there is still a negative stigma attached to it, and there definitely shouldn't be. So yeah, I'm borderline, I'm clinically depressed, and I'm working it. It's day by day, one day at a time. 8 is that I'm kind of a homebody. That's not to say that I don't like to travel or don't like to go out and do things, but when it comes down to it, I much prefer to be at home. I like to be around my kids. I like to be on the farm. I like to, watch the chickens and the duckies and, my kitties and my dog before he passed away. He was my constant companion, Torque, and I just like to be at home. I like to cuddle up on the couch and watch movies. I like to play board games, card games, and that kind of thing with my family. And I'm really close with my family, and you probably figured that out when I said that I live close to where I grew up. My parents still live in that small town I grew up in, and I see them several times a week. My grandma still lives there, and we're really close. I'm close with my brother and sister, and I like it that way. My grandma, my kids' great grandma, I'm so grateful to have her close to us, and for that my kids have her in her life. I think it's so fortunate that they get to have their grandparents and their great grandma around them to help shape who they are and to be part of their lives. So many kids don't have that, and I just feel like it's a gift that I've given my kids by keeping them close to where I grew up. And I think it's good for my parents and my grandma too, and it's just so good for the kids, and it makes my heart happy. Number 9, if you're into astrology at all, I can't say that I'm really into it, although I do find it really interesting. But if you know anything about it, my zodiac sign is Leo. I am a Leo. Definitely see some Leo characteristics in myself, but I don't know if it's all bullshit or not, but it's fun to explore. And in case you wanted to know, Leo girl here. And I guess last thing that I wanted to tell you is just some of the things that I'm into, some of the things that maybe even obsessions that I have. The first one is Willie Nelson. Don't laugh. I love me some Willie Nelson, y'all. I am not a huge fan of country music in general, although I do like the older country, but I am just so in love with Willie Nelson. I really am. I love his music. I think he's obviously a very, very talented guitar player and singer. Nobody sounds like Willie. He's so unique, and he's a very talented lyricist, and lyrics are poetry, and I love poetry. So I love musicians, singers who write their own music. Write their own songs. I think it's amazing, and I love that about him. And also, I think particularly him reminds me of happy times when I was a child, because when I was a kid, we had the 8-track of Willie Nelson, one of his albums, which was an 8-track back then. I guess I'm showing my age a little bit, and of Always on My Mind, that album, and I can just remember listening to it when I was a kid with my parents and just being happy. I think that's part of the reason why I love him so much. The other thing I love is The Doors. If you've watched my poetry series, you know that probably already. I'm obsessed with Jim Morrison. He's my spirit animal. I love his poetry. I love his music. If you're not familiar with The Doors or with Jim Morrison, I would 1,000,000,000% recommend that you get familiar with it. So anyway, yeah, and then the other last thing that I'm really into is the Golden Girls. I love me some Golden Girls, you all. I do. I hope that doesn't make me weird, right? I mean, how could it? Everybody loves the Golden Girls, right? Right? Seriously, the Golden Girls. I love them. I watch the Golden Girls every single day. And I'm not exaggerating. Every day I watch at least an episode or two before I go to bed. A lot of times more, but at least an episode or two. I love them. I've seen all the episodes a gazillion times, and every time I still laugh or cry or, get a feeling in my heart. I just love them. I love that the show was progressive in its time. It's, freaking hilarious. I just love it. Which Golden Girl am I? I think I'm a combination of all of them, aren't we all? I'm kind of ditzy like Rose, and I'm, an English teacher like Dorothy, and I'm a lot like Blanche in my personality, and she's my favorite. I named my car Blanche after her, even though it's a black car, which I think is really funny because Blanche means white in French. So it's funny. But anyway, so yeah, I love me some Golden Girls. I hope I didn't bore you too much. So that's, 10 things that maybe you didn't know about me, and now you do. So thank you so much for watching my channel, and I hope that you will be back and check this channel. I hope you'll be back and check out the channel again and watch some of the other videos. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Please leave me some comments down below and let me know which Golden Girl you are, what else you want to know. Tell me some things about you. If you're a VSGer, let me know where you are in your journey. I want to know it all. Just let me know. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'll put the links down below. Snapchat, Pinterest, all the shit. And I hope that you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Don't forget to look up at those stars tonight. And take care.